Today on Reese Dixon, I am making Addie a little beanbag for his reading nook. Hi everybody, it's Teresa with ReeseDixon.com. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm Reese Dixon there too. A few months ago, you might have seen a picture where I went to Michael Levine, which is the fabric store in LA. Whenever I go down to LA to film something with the Mom's View, I always try and stop in because it's an amazing store, and they have this loft, which is what I took a picture of, where they have just remainders and bargains, and you buy your fabric by the pound there. I mean, it's an insane deal, and it's just heaven. So when I posted that on Instagram, I actually heard from my new friends at Michael Levine. They have a new online store called lowpricefabric.com. And so they said, to help get the word out, why don't we send you some fabric and you can make something cool and tell everybody about us. And I thought, it's perfect. I've been shopping there for years. Like, I can give an honest recommendation because I go there all the time. So all of these fabrics are available at lowpricefabric.com. And what I'm going to be making today is a beanbag chair for Addie's room. He is obsessed with reading. That's all he loves to do, is just go into his room and read. Even though right now it's still mostly just flipping pages. But I want to set up a little reading corner in his room. So I'm going to start with a beanbag chair. And you guys, it's so easy. It's so easy. You don't even need a pattern, I promise. Just watch, okay? So I had Low Cost Fabric send me 2 yards of 2 different kinds of fabric. I chose this corduroy, which is amazing. It's super soft. I kind of want to make everything in it now. And then I have this cool fabric. This is from the designer Riley Blake, and this cool star pattern. I think that's great to transition into more of his kidhood. Okay, so anyway, so I got 2 yards of both of those fabrics, and then you'll need 4 yards of some kind of a lining. I just used a cheap muslin because nobody's ever going to see it. It's basically just to hold the beans in place. So cut 6 panels, 3 panels from each of your 2 different fabrics, and then 6 panels out of your lining. And what you're going to cut them to is 40 inches by 16 inches wide, okay? And then you fold it in half and in half again. So that's what this piece is right here. So it's, here, let me show you. See? In half and in half again. So 40 long and 16 wide, and then in half and in half again. So now we have to make the curve. And like I said, I didn't even use a pattern. I just lined my my folded up panel, so it's folded in half and in half again in quarters. I lined it up, and then I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 inches from the bottom of the fold is where I started my curve. So from there to the top, you just have to curve. That's all you have to do. It's like no science involved at all. You just have to get that point there to match the fold and cut. And so once I cut one curve, then I just used that as a pattern for everything else. So you'll need 6 panels to make up your exterior fabric and 6 panels to make up your interior muslin, your interior lining. So once that's done, you just have to start sewing the pieces together. So I'm going to cut the curves on the rest of them and get that step ready to show you. When you're sewing this ball up, you're going to be making one half and then the other half, and then sew both halves together. So since I'm alternating my fabric, I have the green and then the star, and then I've got a 3rd panel, the green one, and I'm going to sew both of these green panels onto the sides of the star panel, and that will make one half of the ball. So to start with, I'm just going to take one of the greens and the star and just lay them right on top of each other and match them up point and point, and then sew all the way up one curve. And then you open that up and you do it with the same one on the opposite side, and that makes up 1/2 of your ball. So I did that here with the other side. So it's alternating fabrics the other way, and that's already all done. Now, a beanbag is going to get a lot of use. So I sewed each seam twice, and then I paid extra special attention where these points meet, because that's going to be a lot of stress in that one point. So I'm making this out of lovely fabric, but I need something to hold the balls in, because I'm going to want to keep this looking lovely and make it so that I can throw it in the washing machine. So I've already done this entire ball here out of muslin. So I sewed the 3 panels together on 2 sides, and then I sewed all the way around that last line to make this entire ball. But since it's the middle, I need to leave a way to stuff it. So if I can find where I left it, I left a hole open. It all looks alike. Where did I leave that hole? I know I did. Here it is, found it. So I left this hole open so that I can turn it right side out and then fill it with the stuffing. There we go. So there it is, right side out, and I'm just gonna pour my bean bags into this hole. But then I need a way to get the cover on and off. So you can use buttons, you can use Velcro. I'm going to go with a zipper. So before I put together the other half of my ball, I'm going to install the zipper first. So if you've never done this, zippers can be a little intimidating, but they're super easy. You just need the right equipment for your sewing machine. This is a zipper foot, and it's thinner so that all this heavy zipper stuff can slide underneath it instead of the thicker foot, which has to try to, go over the top of this, and it doesn't work. So that's all you need to install a zipper. It's just, and most of the time if you buy a sewing machine, this came with it. So on one of my sides here, I'm just going to lay my zipper down, matching up. See, I've got the right side is the one with the little tab, of course, and I'm going to put that on the right side of the fabric, and then I'm just going to match the tape of the zipper up with my ends. I'm using 1/2 inch seam allowances for all of my seams because I find it just the easiest thing to do when I'm using a zipper, and then I can just be consistent all the way around. So I'm going to just pin that in place, and then with my zipper foot, you just sew as close as you can get to the zipper teeth, and then I will do that with the panel that comes next to it. So in that case, it'll be the star panel. So I'll sew it onto the green one and then open it up, and then again match the right side of the fabric to the right side of the zipper, sew it right next to the zipper again, and then I'll have my zipper installed, and I'll show you how to sew around it to finish off this great project. Okay, can you see my zipper all nice and in place? I tend to sew my zippers a little bit close, so I'm just gonna have to make sure that when I use this, I don't catch the fabric in it. But once I had my zipper in place, then I could take the rest of the fabric and just kind of match it up together. So here's my zipper, and then I just kind of folded that in half to bring the rest of the fabric and sew around that corner like I have been through everything. Now the zipper is so bulky that it doesn't get all the way up to the edge. Since this is essentially a slip cover, I'm already having something else to hold all the beans inside, I'm not going to worry about that. But you could do a little hand stitching there to really get a tight finish on that if you want. So I went ahead and sewed on my 3rd panel, so now I have the whole back done and the whole front done, and so it's time to match our pieces together. So before I forget, because I've done this in the past, I want to unzip my zipper so that when I sew it, oh look, I just got it caught, so that when I sew the whole thing together, I'll have a way to turn it inside out, right side out. Okay, so these points are going to be a focal point. So you want to pay them a little attention. The best we can get these to match, the better it'll look. So even if it means we have to fudge a little bit on the sides, don't worry about it. We're going to get those points right up on top of each other and pin that, and then kind of let everything else fudge as we need to make those points pretty. So I'm going to do that on both sides. In the front, and there we go, there's the bottom. So I match up my little points. And things can shift around so easily that if you've never done any quilting, you've never worried about points before, then don't give it too much stress. It's gonna be adorable. Okay, so now I'm gonna go and pin the whole rest of it and sew all the way around, and then I'm done. So I'll turn this right side out. I've discovered that filling the inside is kind of a two-person job. So Bear and I are gonna go watch a little television as we fill this giant bean bag, and then I will show you the finished project. Oh, one thing I almost forgot, your zipper. Okay, this is really important. This zipper that I'm using just happened to be the longest in my stash. It's 22 inches, it's an upholstery zipper. You wanna make sure that you can get this cover on your beanbag when it's full, so that you can take this on and off to wash as you need to. So if you use a zipper like I am, make sure you use a long one. If you can't find one or don't want to be bothered, then use Velcro, use buttons, whatever. That's the nice thing about already having that lining in place, is we don't really have to worry about keeping track of spare little stray beans. We can just make sure that the cover stays on. So any one of those methods will do just fine. I also forgot to mention that because we are installing the zipper on a curve, using a long zipper like this, you can have it buckle a little bit if you don't give it some room to go. So you snip a little curve in there so that your zipper can curve, and you'll get a much prettier finished object. If you were sewing along with me on all of our Christmas tutorials, you saw this trick a lot and will be super familiar. But here we're just gonna do it on the zipper so that everything lays neatly. Okay, I think I covered everything. I might go over the points again like 4 or 5 times just to reinforce that very top point, since like I mentioned before, that's where it will get so much stress. There's so many different forces pulling on it in all the different directions. So I'm gonna make sure that that is nice and strong, and then get to stuffing, and I'll show you how great this looks when it's all done. You know, I used the largest zipper that I had in my stash, but trying to get this into the cover was such an ordeal that I really wish I had made a special trip to the fabric store and gotten a zipper that was maybe 24 inches long. But you know, it's in. So next time, if I go to wash this, it might be worth replacing the zipper, but I'm not messing with it right now. So I just love this. It's just big and slouchy, and Addie will be able to toss it all over and have his reading parties. And we can even swap it out as he gets older and doesn't want something bright green anymore. You know, it's easy to just make a new cover. I got my beads from either styrofoam pellets. I bought them, they were beanbag, you know, stuffing. I got mine at Kmart, and they had just like one bag that you get for a kid's beanbag, and if you were doing a bigger one, then you get 2. So I just used one bag of pellets, and it worked out perfectly for my needs. And so I'm gonna go toss this in Addie's room, and he's gonna have a ball crawling all over this and snuggling up with his favorite book and probably his favorite mama. So thanks for watching, everybody. Please be sure and subscribe to the channel so that you can get all of my great ideas. I hope that this will inspire you to bring a little softness and coziness into your home. And please leave me a comment if you have any questions. You'll know where to find me, just right down below. Thanks again to Michael Levine Fabrics for these beautiful fabrics that I made my big bean bag chair out of, and you can find them at lowpricefabric.com. If you want to see which fabrics I used, you can visit my blog, and I've got the links for it all right there. And I guess that's everything. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.